Major General Smedley Butler. General Butler was one of the most highly decorated Marines in the U.S. during his time. Smedley Darlington Butler was born in West Chester, Pennsylvania, July 30th, 1881. He was educated at Haverford School. He was married to Ethel Peters in 1905. He was awarded 2 Congressional Medals of Honor, one in 1914 and the other in 1917. The one in 1914 was the capture of Veracruz, Mexico, and the one in 1917 was the capture of Fort Riviere in Haiti. He he had the Distinguished Service Medal in 1919. He was a major general in the Marine Corps. He retired in 1931. He also served in leave of absence the director of Department of Safety in Philadelphia in 1932. He was a lecturer all during the 1930s, a Republican candidate for Senate in 1932, and he passed away at the Naval Hospital in Philadelphia on June 21st, 1940. Today we're going to talk about General Butler. He was the author of War is a Racket. And we're going to kind of go over that a little bit right here. Does future prove past? I think it does. The more I have researched, the more it does. War is a racket. It always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, and surely the most vicious. It is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to the majority of the people. Only a small, quote-unquote, inside group knows what it is about. It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the very many. Out of war, a few people make huge fortunes. In World War I, a mere handful garnered the profits of the conflict. At least 21,000 new millionaires and billionaires were made in the United States during the World War. That many admitted their huge blood gains in their income tax returns. How many other war millionaires falsified their tax returns? No one knows. How many of these war millionaires shouldered a rifle? How many of them dug a trench? How many of them knew what it meant to go hungry in a rat-infested dugout? How many of them spent sleepless, frightened nights ducking shells and shrapnel and machine gun bullets? How many of them parried with a bayonet thrust of an enemy? How many of them were wounded or killed in battle? Out of war, nations acquire additional territory if they are victorious. They just take it. This newly acquired territory promptly is exploited by the few, the self-same few who wrung out dollars out of blood in the war. The general public shoulders the bill. And what is this bill? This bill renders a horrible accounting. Newly placed gravestones, mangled bodies, shattered minds, broken hearts and homes, economic instability, depression and all its attendant miseries, back-breaking taxation for generations and generations. For a great many years as a soldier, I had a suspicion that war was a racket. Not until I retired to civil life did I fully realize it. Now that I see the international war clouds gathering as they are today, I must face it and speak out. Yes, they are getting ready for another war. Why shouldn't they? It pays high dividends. But what does it profit the men who are killed? What does it profit their mothers and sisters, their wives and their sweethearts? What does it profit their children? What does it profit anyone except the very few to whom war means huge profits? Yes, what does it profit the nation? Take our own case. Until 1898, we didn't own a bit of territory outside the mainland of North America. At the time, our national debt was little more than $1 million. Then we became internationally minded. We forgot or shunted aside the advice of the father of our country. We forgot George Washington's warning about entangling alliances. We went to war. We acquired outside territory. At the end of the World War period, as a direct result of our fiddling in international affairs, our national debt had jumped to over $25 million. Our total favorable trade balance during the 25-year period was about $24 million. Therefore, on a purely bookkeeping basis, we ran a little behind year for year, and that the foreign trade might well have been ours without the wars. It would have been far cheaper, not to say safer, for the average American who pays the bills to stay out of foreign entanglements. For a very few, this racket, like bootlegging and other underworld rackets, bring fancy profits that the cost of operations is always transferred to the people who do not profit.